Hello everyone, I'm Bruffy1322 and this video is going to show the fastest fully upgraded sedans in terms of top speed. We're quickly going to go over the slowest vehicles right now, and as always the position counter is in the top left with the actual top speed the car achieved in the top right. This video only focuses on straight line performance, so if you're interested in racing where braking, cornering and acceleration are all relevant, check the link in the description for the lap time testing series. And if you want to know more information about this testing, including the extent to which it's accurate and how useful it is for you personally, have a read of the full description as everything that you need is in there. So we've just done the lap times for the sedans yesterday, and now we're on to the top speeds, and it's pretty much the same story. There's not an awful lot of difference. We have this initial group that you're seeing on the screen right now of sedans that have very, very low top speeds. 80 miles per hour, 90 miles per hour is very, very slow. The Surge obviously takes a big hit in that because it is an electric vehicle. It's got great acceleration, but top speed is nowhere near. And yeah, things like the Stretch, for example, which are vehicles that you can't even fully upgrade, still gets a better lap time, a better top speed than some of the vehicles that we've already seen. The Regina in particular is pretty low, right there at the bottom for both aspects, so lap time and top speed. It's only when we get to the Primo in 21st place that we start to see some relatively reasonable top speeds of 103 miles per hour for the Primo and the Primo Custom, again underlying the fact that both the Primos are exactly the same. But we are into the top 20 now, and again, like I said, it's the same story as what we saw from the lap time testing, where the vast majority of the vehicles from 20th place onwards all the way to pretty much the top are very, very close. When you consider the amount of vehicles that we've got in this area, they're all relatively close in terms of top speed. None of them are all that impressive, again, until we get to the top. 104.8 miles per hour is actually remarkably a top speed that is shared by 4 separate vehicles that we're about to see. Obviously, like I always say, when there are vehicles that share the same top speed, the position that they get within this list is determined by which gets a quicker lap time. So yeah, the Acia, the Premier, we're also going to have the Stratum and the Tailgater all get the exact same top speed of 104.8, and the top speeds aren't all that impressive. They really aren't. The top speeds of this nature are very, very slow when you consider that the vast majority of sports cars the vast majority of sports cars would beat all of these quite easily, and most people are going to be driving around in sports cars and supercars. Sedans aren't the ones to get you from point A to point B very quickly. They're used for other purposes beyond that, and really, especially when it comes to, obviously the main focus of these videos are to try and help you with what's good in terms of racing as well. All of these vehicles are not going to do anything when it comes to sedan races in terms of top speed. Obviously, top speed is all about long highway races or any stunt races that happen to be allowed for sedans. If you're ever doing a sedan race, you pretty much don't want any of these, and to be honest, at this point you can probably skip to at least the sort of last third of the video to just see the top few, because none of these are going to make a difference. But for those of you who actually want to know where each individual sedan places, and you're going to stick through it and watch me ramble on until we get to the top few, then more power to you, and I appreciate it. So yeah, we've seen the standard sedans again, the Premier, the Acia, those sleeper vehicles that I was talking about in the lap time testing video. The Glendale here in 12th place, 107. We're getting up there, and the top 10, apart from the top vehicles, again are even closer than what we've seen previously in previous classes. 107.8 from the Fugitive isn't too bad, and the differences in top speeds that we're going to see from car to car are going to be very, very small. Obviously, the Stania here making it into the top 10. Like I said with the lap time testing video, the Stania and the Washington are exactly the same vehicle under the hood, so it will come as no surprise that the Washington is in 9th place, sharing the exact same top speed of 108 miles per hour. Only a tiny little bit of top speed quicker than the Fugitive, and even up to say 2nd place in the class, it's very, very close. And really, it's a very, very well balanced class. It's not as well balanced a lap time in terms of lap time even below the top two, as we saw yesterday. The regular shafter still reigns supreme in terms of lap time, as do the LWB versions, in comparison to things like the Tailgater and the Fugitive. But when it comes to top speed, it is a little bit better in terms of balance, because as you can see here in 8th place, we've got the LWB armoured version with 109.3 mph top speed. It's relatively standard. It's not all that impressive, and it's certainly not much quicker than everything else in the class. So as we're going to see from the bonus clip next, it should come as no surprise that we'll have the regular shafter LWB here as a bonus, because this is still technically in the sports class, but it can be used in sedan races. If you want my full explanation of the deal with all the shafters and how you can use it and what's where and what classes they're in, see my lap time testing video, because I do explain it in great detail. But the basic version is that the shafter, all versions of the shafter can be used in sedan races, but the regular V12 and the regular LWB are still technically in the sports class, and the two V12 versions should have been put in the sports class. So in 7th place here, we've got the armoured version of the Cognoscenti, and the Cognoscenti actually features quite highly all 4 versions of the vehicle in the top 7. You know, we're already into 7th place, and this is the first one that we've seen. Obviously, it's no surprise that the next vehicle we're going to see is the regular version of the Cognoscenti. Again, not too bad in terms of top speed, but not sort of way ahead of everything that we've already seen. It's all very close, and it is a very well balanced class in terms of top speed, apart from the top 2 vehicles that we'll see, which it should come as no surprise what those are. It's well balanced below that, and it's further evidence that the top 2 vehicles shouldn't really be in this class. They have no business being in this class. So we had 2 shafters, then we had 2 Cognoscentis, and now we've got in the middle the regular version of the shafter, the original one with 110.3. You know, again, like I said, in comparison to the lap times, it's certainly not overpowered in that respect in terms of top speed, mixing it in with the Cognoscentis. And in 4th place we've got the Super Diamond, which, although it's absolutely terrible around the corners and it gets a terrible lap time, it does have a relatively decent top speed of 111.8 miles per hour. And then ahead of the Super Diamond, we've only got basically 2 versions of the same vehicle left. That is the Cognoscenti 5.5. So the short wheelbase version of the Cognoscenti is quicker in terms of lap time and in terms of top speed as well. Again, the armoured version is a little bit slower, but not by all that much, with 112.3 mph top speed for the armoured version, and then a little bit quicker for the regular version. That should be the top of the class. This is where the video should finish, with these 2 Cognoscentis. And can you imagine how close it is, how balanced it is in terms of top speed, when you look back and realise that, you know, 13th, 14th, 15th places were only 4 or 5 miles per hour slower than this, and we've got a lot of cars in between. So this is really where the class should end, but because we had that mistake with the 2 shafter V12s, we now have a case where none of these vehicles are at all relevant anymore. The Cognoscenti 5.5 is the 2nd quickest vehicle in the sedans class in terms of top speed, but it gets absolutely demolished by the shafter V12 armoured version by more than 10 miles per hour with 123.5 miles per hour. Once again, the shafter V12 armoured version is the quickest sedan in terms of top speed, but it isn't the quickest sedan that you can use in sedan races. Sorry, it's not the quickest car that you can use in sedan races. That, obviously, as we saw with the lap time testing yesterday, that falls to the regular shafter V12 that has a top speed of 124 miles per hour, just around 1 mile per hour quicker than the armoured version. So once again, the armoured versions of these vehicles are slightly slower than the regular versions, and this shows you how overpowered the shafter V12 versions are. When you have the fastest sports car in the game in terms of top speed, that's the regular shafter V12, it is at the very top. It's quicker than every other sports car in the game in terms of top speed. When you can use that in a sedan race against all of the vehicles that we've seen below 1st place, something's wrong there. And again, it's further evidence of the misallocation that I was talking about and I went into great detail about on the lap time testing video. If you're all curious or confused about why we've got 2 V12 shafters that should be in the sports class in the sedans class, go and watch the lap time testing video and that will explain it all and what the problem was. But yeah, basically, once again, the same story as with the lap time testing. you don't need anything other than a regular Shafter V12 because you can use it in sedan races now. You don't even need the armoured version. Also, just to point out that the Shafter V12s are the quickest vehicles, the quickest 4-seat vehicles as well. So if you want to transport 3 of your friends, the Shafter V12 is the quickest way to do it, but with the armoured version being only, less than a mile per hour slower and less than about a tenth of a second slower in terms of lap time, you may want to go for the V12 armoured version for a bit of added protection. But ultimately we have 2 sports cars at the top of the sedans class because of the misallocation issues, and there's no point in using any other sedan in the game because you've got the fastest sports car in terms of top speed. There's also obviously the fastest vehicle that you can use in sedan races as well. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Obviously remember to read the description for more info, comment with your thoughts, like the video if you enjoyed it, found it helpful, and subscribe for more. Thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.